Hi, my name is Harold, and I'm here to provide a demo video of Doomtown Online, the web-based client for playing Doomtown Reloaded online. This is a browser-based application, and a link to the Doomtown Online website will be available in the video description. So this is not a video for learning how to play Doomtown Reloaded. There's a number of videos out there. You should go check them out, especially the ones put out by Pinebox. It'll help you get acclimated to the game. This particular video that I'm producing right here is mainly to focus on the web client for Doomtown Online and to get you a little more familiar with it and make it a little less intimidating for players. So as soon as you come into the Doomtown Online website, it brings you to this homepage here, and it's going to have a Discord section, a lobby section, decks, play, and an help section. I would recommend that you register a user ID, create a profile, go through the settings, and establish whatever personal preferences and display preferences you like to have to see for the website. Once you're logged in and you've established yourself a user ID, that user ID will mimic the same user ID that is used for this guest profile in Discord. Again, this is a guest profile in Discord, not tied to your actual Discord account. This plugin here lets you message people into the Doomtown Online looking for group text channel on the Pinebox server. So you could put messages here very quickly to see if there's anyone out there that's willing to play. You can also post in the Doomtown rules section if you have a quick question about something that you might want to try and get an answer for. I recommend just using the actual Discord app if you have it on your phone or your PC or laptop that's tied to your account, because that way when someone responds to you, you'll actually get a notification here. You just got to keep your eyes glued to the screen to see who responds, otherwise you're not going to know if they did answer or not. There is a lobby section here where people can periodically post messages also looking for group or just a general chat lobby. I don't personally read it, but it is an option that's available to new players. So if this is something that you want to message in to see if there's anyone looking around, go ahead. You could try it. But again, best case scenario, you're better off just going to the Pinebox Entertainment Discord server and posting directly with your actual login for Discord tied to your user account to look for a group. So let's go into the help section. So in the help section, you have links to how to play, how to add decks into Doomtown Online, which we'll get into in a minute, bugs, the automation, the scripting, just little tidbits about this. Now you can go ahead and read through this at your leisure. I recommend printing this page to PDF so it's accessible to you when you're playing the game. I do not recommend having two tabs open, one with this how to play and one with the actual game client on, because it may cause a disconnect. So if you really want to reference this page, just print it to PDF and reference it, separately outside the website. It has a number of slash commands that are usable in the game. These are commands that you would enter into the chat box, and I'll get more on that when we're actually in a game so you can see what it looks like, what we're talking about. So the next section I'm going to go into is decks. So in decks, this is where you would upload any decks that you want to use in the Doomtown Online client. In addition to that, there are some standalone decks which have already been created. Now you're going to notice this has the casual tag. That casual tag currently denotes that these are old-timer format decks. So there are two formats now for playing Doomtown. Casual, which is using every card that's been put out from both AEG era and Pinebox era. And there's also the Weird West edition format, which is supposed to use all the cards that were put out by Pinebox Entertainment, which is There Comes a Reckoning, all the way up to the new kickstarted Weird West edition, the new base set. So this is a playable, working deck creation tool. So when I click on new deck, which I just did, you can actually type in the card names of what you would like to use, and that will find the card for you, or you could just scroll through it and look for cards and add it. So that is one thing you could do. It's much simpler to just follow the instructions up here, which is to copy and paste a deck list from dtdb.co. Much simpler. So this will take you right to the Doomtown DB, which is dtdb.co, and any decks that you may have already created yourself. So here I'm already logged in, all of my decks that are in here. Any one of these decks, if you click on them and click on plain text, you can select all the text here in this pop-up box, copy it, and then you can go into this box here where it says cards and paste, and there you go. It'll auto-populate the entire deck from DTDB into the Doomtown Online. And once I hit save, this deck will be saved and available for me to play whenever I want in the Doomtown Online web client. If I don't want to save it, I just go ahead and hit cancel. And it's not just limited to just your decks. Any deck list that you find out there that you might want to try, any recent decks that someone may have come up with, like this one, Farnham's Cowboy Slide here that someone recently posted up on October 19th. I can go ahead and click on export plain text. Here we go. Select all the text, and I just made a copy of this deck, and I'll just overwrite what's in here, and here we go. So that's the deck. I hit save, and there it is at the top of the list, Farnham's Cowboy Slide. So the deck is already there, ready for me to play. So moving on, you notice up here there's a little section that says 0 games. This is going to tell me the number of active games that are either looking for players or are in progress, are available. So I'm going to go ahead and click play. So once I click play, it's going to bring me to this new box, and in here I can either join a game or create a new game, and then these are filters that you can check mark to show what games you're looking to join or looking to create. So there are no currently games in progress, as you can see right in the front of the screen. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit new game. So you can title the game something so your friends will be easier to find it to play. You can select the mode you want, whether it's Weird West or Old Timer. I'm just going to go ahead and leave it default to Weird West. You can allow spectators, show hands to spectators, put time limits. You can also use one of the radio buttons to indicate what type of game that you'd like to be playing. I'm going to leave it casual, and then I'm going to hit start. So by doing this, it now puts my game up here. You can see now that there's one game now active. So anybody that's logged into the Doomtown Online client will now see that there is one game that is either in progress or looking for players, and in this case it's waiting for more players. Now I can preemptively go ahead and check, select a deck, so I could click on that, pick any of the decks that I've already got established, even decks that aren't really legal for classified as legal for Weird West Edition play. I can pick old timer decks if I want, and vice versa. If I'm playing an old timer format, I can pick Weird West Edition legal decks only as well. It makes no difference unless, you know, the person you're playing against is okay with it. In this case, I'm just going to go ahead and just pick a deck, and then when an opponent joins in, their name is going to show up right underneath me, right underneath my name. You'll actually hear a cocking of a gun click in the browser if you have sounds enabled to alert you that someone has joined your game, and then you can go ahead and click start, and that will start the game. If for some reason you don't want to create the game or you want to leave the game, you can just click on the leave button and that'll pop you back out to the next screen. So I don't have a live opponent, so I'm going to demo the rest of this by using an AI opponent. So I just hit new game again. I'm going to hit the radio button for solo, and I'm going to go ahead and hit start. It's going to ask me to select my deck, which I will go ahead and do. And it's also going to ask me to select the deck for my AI opponent. Now again, this is not a how-to learn, play Doomtown Online while using the AI, so I'm just going to quickly go over elements of just using the Doomtown Online client. So I'm going to pick something for the AI to start with, and then I'm going to go ahead and hit start. So as the game begins, it's going to go in through the normal phases as if it was following the rule book. So we're in the setup phase where you pick your posse. Any cards that you would have marked already as starting dudes from the Doomtown DB deck that you might have ported over into Doomtown Online, that is going to be what your initial starting setup of dudes are. If you want to pick different dudes to start, you can go ahead and click on your deck, and it'll give you options to show shuffle. You could click on show, go through here. You can actually apply filters to just spades so you can quickly see what dudes there are, and you can drag dudes from this box that just popped up into your hand, and this is going to set up, again, your starting posse. You have to do the math yourself to make sure that you do come up with the correct starting gold for your outfit, which is 18. And as you can see, every time I mouse over any card, in the top right hand corner, it's going to show a zoomed in look of that card, so you don't have to actually try to squint to see what the card text here is. You just mouse over any one of these cards and it'll put a larger copy of the card in the top right hand corner. So if I wanted to, let's say, put Alan Campbell in my starting posse, I can go ahead and drag it over here, right? It's going to give me a warning, hey, I've got too many guys, but it's actually not counting the Ghost Rock yet. So it's up to me to make sure I have the correct Ghost Rock count as I'm coming up with this, right? So in this case, I'm going to leave my starting posse as it is. I don't want Alan Campbell. I'm going to drag him back to that box. I'm going to close and shuffle. And as you can see, every time I do something, it's going to be in the chat log. This chat log on the right hand side here is very important. I do not recommend that you close it. So if you click this little envelope on the side, it minimizes it. Do not do that. I would strongly recommend you keep this up and open because it's going to give you a lot of valuable information into the state of the game, right? So I just closed the deck, it shuffled the deck. I can click on it, shuffle it one more time. So that goes into commands that are already built into this interface. What else to show you? So we're still in the setup phase here. If the cards I like are the cards I want to keep, I'm going to go ahead and hit done. So I'll do that. So it's going to deduct this dude's cost, the total cost, from my starting stash. And then it's going to populate whatever control points I may have and total influence I have as soon as I hit done. And it's going to do the same for my opponent. You can see, I can see my opponent's home, and as soon as I hit done, it'll reveal his cards too. So I'll go ahead and do that. So there we go. It adjusted my starting Ghost Rock to now a 2. It's also asking me now for Grifter. So there is some scripting in the game that if there's any cards that require interaction, this pop-up is going to show up. In this case, it's asking me if I want to use my Grifter. I'm going to go ahead and pass, but if I wanted to, I would select the Grifter and it would go ahead and do what it's doing. And in this case, it really didn't give me much option. As soon as I clicked on the Grifter, as if I wanted to use his ability, it already did it. So I'm going to go ahead and close my draw and just hit done because I don't want to put a card in my hand for lose ability. And as you can see in the chat log, it's going to say what my opponent's starting dudes are. So if they're pretty hard to see and I don't want to just mouse over them, you can always mouse over the cards right here in the chat log, and it's going to do the same thing. All right, it's also going to tell me what actions I've played, what actions my opponent's played. And as you can see, once we've both chosen our starting posses, both finished with setup, and moved right into the gambling phase. It's automatically deducted a low ball Ghost Rock ante from each of us. And it's going to proceed with the game phase as if it normally would in a regular table game. The draw hand is going to show up here in the right hand side. So this is my low ball draw hand, and my opponent's low ball draw hand would typically be concealed for me, but because this is playing against the AI, you're going to see it. You're also going to see some AI actions, so fair warning, I'm just going to pass through some of them because I'm not really concerned with what the AI is doing at the moment. This is just to familiarize the players with options that are available to you in game and how to just use this interface, right? So if there's nothing I have of card wise or ability wise to affect my gambling hand, I'm just going to go ahead and hit ready. So once I hit ready, it's going to reveal the hands you can see in the chat log, and the game will also calculate who's won low ball, and if any of us had an opportunity to react to the low ball, that would also allow us to do something here. So if there was a cheating resolution that you wanted to play on low ball, you could do that, right? If there was not, it's going to indicate the hand ranks here, who won low ball, and in this case I'm the winner of low ball, and I've received my 2 Ghost Rock. It's already been added to my stash, and it's going to move on to the upkeep phase. So once the upkeep phase is done, it's going to calculate if I had any upkeep to pay. If I did, it would deduct it from my stash, only if I chose which dudes to pay for, right? I don't have that option at the moment because I don't have any dudes with upkeep. So here we are showing what would happen if I actually had upkeep and cards to pay for. So after collecting production, which you see in the chat log here, just altering the game state a bit, I have Alan Campbell as if I had had him in play as part of my starting posse, and you can see here he is an option. It's highlighted here because this is a card that I can fire. So if I select him, you'll see that it's got the green soft border around him, that is a card that I've chosen to fire. Any cards that I've selected at this point, if I hit done, they will be fired. I don't pay their upkeep, and I'll just keep that as part of my production. It won't be deducted from my Ghost Rock stash here. So if it's deselected and I just hit done, I've chosen to pay for any cards, or to pay upkeep as much as I can for whatever I do have. And if I do that and I hit done, it'll go ahead and deduct it from my upkeep. So I'll go ahead and do that and just hit done. So you'll see here, there it is. I've paid my upkeep of 2 in the chat log. It's deducted it from my 6, bringing me down to 4. And that would be paying upkeep for cards, how to do it. And again, if I had chosen him, he would have gone straight to discard, and I would have kept the Ghost Rock instead. So moving along, right? My opponent has gone through his upkeep. He had a Chuan Jen Qi there, and she had an upkeep of 1. You could see that he's paid for the upkeep there. And now we've gone on to the high noon phase once upkeep is done. What you see on the screen is both our homes, the dudes in the home. You have a space on either side of your home for deeds to come into play, town square in the middle, and it's mirrored on your opponent's side. There's a space off to the side, to the right, which is where out-of-town deeds will show up, right? And you can see this is my opponent's current Ghost Rock, my opponent's current control points, my opponent's current influence. It's the same for me. Now you're going to notice this little die is here. This is to indicate that I am the winner. So because I won low ball, I am the winner, I'm following the Doomtown rules. That means I'm going to get the first ability or the first option to take an action or pass. And this pop-up box here is going to say exactly that. It's a little reminder box to let me know it's my action to do something. Now, as I was going on, if there's any cards that you want to play in your play hand, which is here on the left-hand side, you could left-click on any of these cards and it will give you the option for shopping play if you want to put into play a goods, shopping play if you want to put into play a deeds, this new town hall. This card is grayed out because it's a cheating resolution, so the game does know that if it's a noon action, I could use the ability, but because this is a cheating resolution, I can't use the ability right now because there's no action window to actually play it. And spells are the same way. It's a shopping play for the spells. Likewise, each of these cards will have an ability pop-up window. So I can boot or unboot it if I want to, use an ability if there was something to do, move the card, call out, trade. Each of these cards will have that option. So it's up to me which card I want to do. Now, the game client gives you some flexibility to do things that you normally couldn't do in a regular game. So it's very important that you follow the rules of Doomtown Reloaded, because the game client will allow you to play out of turn, play on your opponent's turn, boot and unboot cards, gives you freedom to do a lot of things. But as I mentioned before, you're supposed to play within the rules of the game, so don't do what you wouldn't normally do as if you were playing in a live game. So please bear that in mind. So if I wanted to move a dude, I would go ahead and click move, and it would move the guy. I can click on town square if I want. I can click here in the town square dialog box to choose town square. I can also choose my opponent's home if I saw fit. I have a lot of options open to me, and it will follow the regular rules for Doomtown Reloaded. So if I wanted to move there, I clicked on my opponent's home, and Vivian did move there booted. And then it's my opponent's opportunity to do something. If I click pass, my opponent's just going to go ahead and take an action without me. And again, it follows the same rules. If both of us pass, it'll proceed to nightfall if it was 2 consecutive passes. But in this case, the AI opponent did something and it goes back to me, right? So I still have those options available to me. Clicking on any of these cards will let me do or see what's available to me. Doesn't mean I could use the action, because I still have to follow the regular rules text. And you can see here, usability is grayed out. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and do a shopping play and equip a weapon to one of my dudes. So I clicked shopping and then I clicked the dude, and it did attach it and deduct the ghost rock from me. And again, you could see that in the chat log. So does a shopping to attach Silverweave staff to Valeria Baden, costing 0 because it is applying the trait from my home that I can reduce the cost of a mystical deed by 1. It's back to my action to go ahead and do something, right? Same thing. Now I'm going to go ahead and move to town square. I'm going to let the AI do something. Alright, and if I wanted to call a dude out, there will be an option to call a dude out. If there was an action card that I wanted to play, again, you just click on it from your hand and it would let you do it. At any time, you can look at your discard. It'll show you what cards have been discarded. You can also look at your opponent's discard by clicking on it, right? I can also look at my opponent's deck, but that doesn't mean I should, because you wouldn't be able to normally do that under standard rules. So leave your opponent's deck alone unless there's some ability or effect that's allowing you to do it. In this case, it is my action again, and you can see that window is there. Again, following the chat log, the AI put out an out-of-town deed, and that's why you see it off to the side here. If there were multiple cards attached to a particular dude, there would be a little white bar up in this corner right here where I'm pointing the mouse, and you could click on that to see what's going on. So I'm going to bend the rules a little bit, bring my dude back, unboot them, and I'll attach a spell to them. So there's 2 cards here now attached to the dude, and you can see now mousing between them, I can see which card does what, and by clicking on them, it does give me the ability to use the ability if it's something that I could do. In this case, I'm just going to go ahead and go to Town Square, so I can either click in Town Square or use the Town Square button here to do the movement. I clicked here, and it's my opponent's turn to do something. Looks like they purchased another deed. There it is in the chat log. I'm going to go ahead and do a call out now. So once I do the call out, the dialog box is going to show up here. I pick one of my opponent's dudes to call out with the targeting reticle, and now it's following the regular game state of choosing dudes I want to join. So I can select any of my dudes I want to join. So you can see is as I choose them, they're going to get a green highlighted box. Any other dudes that were available to join, they'd be lit up showing the option to join, and then I would just have to target them to do that. So once I go ahead and hit the join button, they will boot to move to join the posse following the regular rulebook. My opponent has also formed a posse. You can see here their cards will be highlighted in a different color, blue in this case, and mine are red. And you can always follow the chat log to see who's joined what posse. And now the game is progressing again to allow for shootout play. Since I'm the winner, I've got the first one. There isn't anything I can do here, and there isn't anything I can do or that I want to do on my cards. I could use Black Owl's ability, but I can't boot him, so I can't force my opponent to pick a dude for their casualty. But I'll go ahead and use the ability now anyway, just to show you that it does work. I'll target Jen here. You can see it's got a marker now to show that her value has been adjusted. It's saying V10. I know it's a little difficult to make out here, but it is showing that I've added 5 value to her. So any dudes that have an adjustment to their value, it's going to say V and a number. The same thing that for any dudes that have an adjustment to their bullet rating. In this case, Irving's a draw, but he has the rapier, so he's a draw too. And I had mentioned slash commands before. At any point in the game, you can hit / and it's going to pick up or put up a pop-up box here on the right hand side for you to use any of the slash commands. Now any of these slash commands can be used again during the game. If I wanted to modify the bullets of a card because maybe one of the abilities I used didn't quite work out the proper way, or maybe it adjusted it wrong, this is your opportunity to do that, or bring the game state back to something that more correctly reflects what has happened in game. So in this case, let's say I had done an action that didn't actually work properly in the client. I can go ahead and pick bullets and set my bullets to, let's say, 3 and hit enter, and it would bring up a targeting reticle for me to now modify the bullets of one of my dudes, right? And let's say I made a mistake, so I think I just have to go ahead and do bullets again and just set it to 1 and return him back to 1 bullets, because there is no effect that he did or that I played. I was just showing you as an example. Those are slash commands that you have available to you. You can modify bounties, cancel prompts, cancel shootout. You know, it gives you options to correct the game state, as I said before. Number of available options to you. You can mouse through them as you see fit. In this case, I have nothing I want to do. I was just displaying that that is an option available to you. I'm going to go ahead and pass for shootout plays. The AI is going to do its thing. I'm going to go ahead and pass. And now we've gone through the select shooter step. So now that we're in the select shooter step, again, following the regular rulebook mechanics, I use the targeting reticle to choose which shooter I want. Now notice, as soon as I clicked it, it just went straight to it, right? So if I wanted to change what shooter I did because I made an accident or did something incorrectly, let's see here, I could try to use the slash commands to fix the game state, right? Or I could alter them here. So if there's some miscalculation that was made, I can go ahead and hit plus cards or minus card. Again, you need to follow the regular rules of the game. It's going to highlight now here my opponent and the stats for my opponent, what his stud, possible draw. Hand ranking casualties don't apply just yet because we haven't drawn cards or revealed the hands. Right now it's just establishing preemptively what the possibilities are based on the shooter selected. So in this case I picked Black Owl as my shooter. He's going to be a 1 draw, 1 stud as support in the form of Valeria, and another draw as support in the form of the Brute. So all the math is done for you here. I just have to draw 6 cards. Those 6 cards are automatically drawn into my draw hand, and a larger pop-up box has shown up here to make it a little easier on the eyes. And again, anytime you mouse over a card, you're going to see it. Now, the whole discard redraw function is also automated for you. So because I have a draw 2, I can select whatever cards I want to discard redraw now, and it will go ahead. In this case, I've selected these 2 cards. If I only wanted to select one, I could do that. Just 1 card if I want. And once I hit done, it will discard this card from my hand and draw the appropriate number of cards back, which in this case it would be a discard redraw 1 if that's what I'm doing, which I am. I'll hit done, and it did. So, and you can see in the chat log, it tells you how many cards I did discard. So in this case, discard redraw 1. If I had to, you'd see 2 cards leaving my hand and a redraw of 2, right? So I now have 6 cards in my hand, and I have to discard down to 5 to make a legal play hand, following the regular rules of the game. I like what I see. I'm going to pitch this king. I can go ahead and hit discard selected, or I can drag and drop the card into the discard pile. You could do either or. In this case, I did the drag and drop, and now my hand is now ready to reveal, and it's going to be the same for the opponent. So if I click here, pop-up box, right? If I click X, removes the pop-up box, just shows you the hand in a large size. I'm going to go ahead and hit ready to reveal hand. I did a full house. My opponent revealed a cheating 4 of a kind. Now it's time for resolution plays. So it's, again, following the regular rules of the game. I revealed a rank 7. My opponent revealed a rank 8. In this chat log, it's going to tell you what the hand ranks are for you. It's also going to tell you over here in the left-hand side what the hand ranks are. I do have a cheating resolution to play since my opponent's hand was cheating. This bottom dealing, so I can click on it. Now usability is lit, so I can do it, and I will. And it will automatically adjust my opponent's hand. So my opponent's hand has been turned to a high card. So he is now a high card. And the opponent would get a chance to respond with their own resolution. They didn't, and it comes back to me. I have no resolutions to play. I'm going to hit pass, and you can see here it went right to casualty steps. I didn't get a casualty window because my opponent was the only one taking casualties, right? It says that in the chat log. I'm the winner by 6 ranks, and you can see the AI here aced 3 dudes to cover the 6 casualties, and each time they ace a dude, it showed you what the remaining casualties are. You'd get a pop-up box here to say ace, discard, send home for harrow dudes. You would have that option available to you. So you just have to wait to see what the prompt says. You would pick the option, pick the dude, the casualty would take place, and you repeat the process until you're cleanly covered the casualties. Now this is the fight or flee section. Any dudes that want to stick around, I can go ahead and pick guys to leave, and those dudes would run once I hit done. If I want everyone to run, I would just go ahead and hit all. In this case, I'm leaving all my dudes there, unselected, so that they stay, and I'll hit done because I'm going to stick around. On this video, I am adding in a section on taking casualties, so I'm going to go ahead and reveal my draw hand here. and I've got a high card and my opponent revealed a cheating 5 of a kind, I am not going to play any other resolution or reactions. I'm just going to show you what happens when you're forced to now take casualties. So here now it says in the shootout phase, take your lumps. That's the step we're on, and I've got 9 casualties to take because I'm a hand rank 1 to my opponent's hand rank 10. So I choose the option that I want: ace, discard, send home, or done. Send home is reserved for harrowed dudes. So in this case, I'm just acing or discarding dudes one at a time until I've met all the casualty requirements. I'm going to go ahead and pick ace. And as soon as I did that, the targeting reticle is up. I'm going to choose the dude that I want to ace first. So I'm going to ace the brute. And the text on the brute is going to apply, which reduces my casualties by 2, which it did. So I went from a 9 casualties. Acing the brute took 2. His trait reduced 2 more, bringing me down to a 5 casualties to take. And I still have a lot more to go. So if I click on ace, that's going to absorb another 2 casualties. So 3 left. I'm going to ace again. Pick Black Owl. 1 left. So now I only have to discard a card. One of my dudes in play. So I'm going to pick discard. Choose the guy that I want to go. And that card now gets discarded. So any ace cards are shown out in Boot Hill. And any discarded cards are going to be in the discard pile. And I have the option to fight or flee. I'm going to go ahead and hit all dudes run. And that's taking casualties. So the shootout ended now, and then now it goes back to my opponent, who the AI wants to call out Valerian. You can see here, that's the dialogue box. Do I want to accept or refuse? If I refuse, the game is going to automate that process, and it'll send Valeria home booted. If I'm accepting, I can go ahead and hit accept call out, and it's back to the creation of the posse step. When I pick my dudes, they're going to have that green outline on them to show that I've selected them to be part of my posse. Gonna go ahead and hit done, and they are part of my posse. My opponents created their posse. You can see the chat log again. I have no shootout play, so I'm going to go ahead and hit pass. The AI is doing its thing. Back to me, still no shootout plays for me. Now select shootout since both of us has passed. I think I like that again. I'm going to leave Black Owl as my shooter. Back to draw 6. See what happens. Ooh. Cheating 5, sure. Let's go with that. It's probably pretty bad. Probably could have done a legal 4 of the kind, but we'll see how bad this goes. So I have a cheating 5, and my opponent has a cheating 3. I don't have any resolution, so I'm going to pass. And the automaton is asking me if I want to use a card, so yes, I'm going to use its cheating ricochet to discard Black Owl. Make plays, gonna pass because I have none. My dudes are gonna stay. I'm gonna hit done. Get see my opponent took his casualties, and that's kind of where we're at the moment. So I will play a Doomtown Hall now. Play it to the right. My opponent, I could use an ability on a deed, which I will. Add a control point. My opponent played another deed, and now if I move over to that deed, you could see there's now a noose here to show that I have more control than my opponent's influence. And if my opponent doesn't do something, I'm gonna go ahead and win. I'm gonna hit pass. My opponent's playing more deeds. I'm still going to hit pass because there's nothing else I really want to do. And since it's 2 consecutive passes, it goes down to sundown where the victory check is made. And there it is. You get a little green dialog box saying who the winner of the game is, and also the section here about how the winner was determined. I have 2 control points to my opponent's 1 influence. My opponent had 2 control points to my 3 influence. And that's it. Now the game will let you keep playing despite a winner having been established. That's just, again, the flexibility of the game to be able to create room for opportunities if you wanted to play some games out. But that's it in a nutshell of how to use Doomtown Online. So I hope that was helpful to you. So that's it for now.